Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie and today is our third Asian Readathon vlog. This is the prompt number 4 though, and it is a book worthy of googly eyes, which pretty much is just a drool-worthy cover. If you guys want to know more about Asian Readathon, then I will link with Cindy's original announcement video below. She's been doing it for 4 years. And I'll also link my playlist in one of these corners so you can watch my TBR, my vlog number 1, and my vlog number 2. In that first video, I explained that I'm going to be eating the cuisine of each nationality of the Asian culture or country of the author and or character, yada, yada, yada. So today we are reading Siren Queen by Nghi Vo. Honestly, all the books I've read so far, A Tale for the Time Being and Kaikei, they deserve this prompt as well. However, this was a book I bought just from looking at it. First of all, it's like a luminescent. Is that a word? My Amazon people suck, so they kind of like scratched it, but it makes it extra luminescent where it's scratched. A luminescent? Luminescent? Whatever. But it's got the cool blue tone. She has some glossy ass makeup on. She has the wave, the old Hollywood wave, plus there's smoke, plus she's beautiful. What I remember hearing about this book is that, first of all, I've heard nothing but good things about it from those who have read it. This book was released just a couple weeks ago, and it's about a woman who is in old Hollywood. And I think it's the trials and tribulations of just being like a queer woman back in the day and being in the spotlight and having to deal with your publicist. But also, I think it's a fictional world because there are monsters here. I don't really know what's going on, and I don't really want to read too much into it because I like being surprised. Just for full transparency, I don't feel my best today. Those of you with a uterus, you probably understand, but I'm hoping this helps me, and it's rather short and sweet. The only things I'm nervous about, first of all, I don't always enjoy stories about famous people, but it's usually people who are coming into fame and then they have to discover like, oh wait, I need to still stick to my roots and keep my feet on the ground, yada, yada, yada. That's boring to me, but I feel like she's already gonna be famous, so I think this is gonna be totally different. Let's read the first sentence. Wolf Studios released a tarot deck's worth of stories about me over the years. Okay, I'm only on page 32. However, I want to say a couple things. First of all, I thought our main character's name was Lily, but right now she's in her childhood. So this is going to be like a chronological story about her life, I'm guessing. But her sister's name is Lily, so I wonder if she steals her name. Obviously, this is going to have a lot to say about being Chinese, being Asian in America back in the 40s. Again, it's not telling us it's the actual 40s. It's like old Hollywood. But it's already disgusting in the sense that it is absolutely awful and frustrating. And it just really sucks because even though this is 80 years ago, people are still this shitty. So that's awful. We're learning about how our main character, I guess Lily, I don't really know, it has got into the movie business, and I actually think it's really fascinating. It's giving me like La La Land, but much more serious, and our main character is much more ambitious. The thing I wanted to stop and talk to you about is that I wasn't sure how prevalent the magic was going to be, or if it was going to be like sort of a little bit of magic, but it's come up several times already in 32 pages. And it's very interesting because, first of all, it's not really explained, which is one of my favorite things in a fantasy. I don't like being told how the magic system works. Some people find that frustrating, so just so you know. I personally love it because it makes it more mystical and magical. But how it's been used, okay, since we're only 30 pages in, I'm going to say something that happens just in a page. So her father doesn't approve of her doing this. He finds it disrespectful to him that people aren't congratulating him. They're like saying good job to her, but not like recognizing that he raised her, which is, you know, it's someone from another time and another culture, but he also sounds like a dick because he like slaps and tries to beat his wife. Anyway, so in order to appease him, our main character's mom, she makes these like dolls and she puts the hair of her and her sister into the dolls, and the dad just sees the dolls and he's like, he loves them, and he's like, oh, you're such a good girl. And it's so I didn't make that sound as cool as it was to read on the page, so I'm gonna shut up now. But yeah, I'm really liking it so far. Okay, wait, is this a Little Mermaid retelling? Our main character still hasn't told us her name, and she's hinted at it, and she says of course she has a name, but she hasn't told it us what it is. She's gone to this older woman who was a star for advice to find the main guy in charge of this production company. The old woman and her come up with a contract. So our main character gives her a part of herself and she writes down her name and the thing and then puts blood on it, which is like, okay, it's witchcraft, which they've talked about several times, but I don't know, it's giving me Ursula and Ariel, and it's Siren. I feel like, of course, though, our main character is not going to be just Ariel looking for Prince. She's looking for her future. She's looking to become a queen. But Ariel was too, accidentally. Or maybe she's Ursula. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm thinking too much into this. Goodbye. Hey guys, I'm on page 111, probably like a third of the way through, and I'm really liking it. I feel like it's super engaging, even for someone who is just getting out of a reading slump. Like, I want to know what's happening, and it's not that it's like plot driven or anything, but obviously Nghi Vo's writing style is just something that calls to me. A siren song, if you will. And I didn't realize how fantasy this was gonna be, but again, it's not like explained at all. Like, there's actually creatures in here, or somewhat half human, or I don't understand it, and I don't think we're meant to fully grasp it. We're supposed to just be shoved into this like world and take it for what it is. I feel like I'm going to love some of these characters, like Greta right now. I feel really close to her, and I think that Luli, who was named at this point, feels very close to her as well. And we're also getting snippets from conversations in the future with characters we haven't even met yet, so I find that very interesting. Obviously, I'm like trying to put in clues of who I think it's gonna be or like what they're gonna mean. So yeah, I definitely think I'm going to finish this today, and it's just a beautifully strange little book. I feel like what we're most being hit over the head with is just the theme of power and agency, especially coming from a woman who is Asian and is a woman. So in this world, in the past, but not really because it's a make-believe world, in this time and this place, obviously the men are pulling the strings, but because there is like magic set into it, there's more power to be had than even one could get if it weren't magic. Did that make sense? I'm also loving the subtle comments that Luli is saying about her sexuality. Like, she's instantly jealous of this other woman, like the affection she's showing to another girl. She says something like, I don't know why I was acting like that. And then in parentheses, she's like, I knew exactly why I was acting like that. Or something. It says, I immediately disliked her, the girl that the other woman was showing attention to. I excused it with a dislike of lapdogs in general, but even then I knew the truth. So yeah, I'm looking forward to more discovery in that sense. Okay, I think that's all for this update. Goodbye. Okay, so I do plan on finishing this book tonight. However, we can't go out to eat until tomorrow. So I'm gonna put in the dining experience footage right now for your viewing pleasure, I hope. Okay, we're headed to Mile Restaurant and we ordered a lot of food. Are you ready to consume it all?
Heck yeah. Stop trying to make fetch happen.
Look at that. We have a feast for like 2 weeks. Finished it. This was such a sweet and powerful book, and I really liked it. I feel like there were two very different tones in this book. I definitely have a preference. So like the first half of it is really a long span of time, and it's about our main character Luli growing up, discovering what she wants, but being very sure with herself. But also we have these snippets of magic and of creatures and of this fantasy world, and it really did feel kind of like this dark fantasy, and it felt very dangerous, and I really liked that. And maybe not the second half, but probably the last quarter or the last 30%. I feel like it was more of a drama, and it happened in a very short spans of time within like a few weeks, except for the very end, which I absolutely loved. The drama part of it, I don't really care too much for because, I don't know, I feel like it could have kept that kind of dark fantasy genre, but getting the same things across. But again, this was still a masterpiece. I really liked the ending, and I liked how we had snippets of the future all throughout the story. And although I really liked the dark and unsettling creepiness in the first half, I don't mind that it was actually kind of wholesome. And yes, I still don't really like stories about fame or famous people. However, I like how it was used in this story, because at first I was like, oh, it's just an interesting time and an interesting career choice for a woman who's Chinese and who loves other women and the entire thing of that, and pretending to be something else and pretending to be a monster, and the kind of different lives that you live in roles. But actually, there was a very surprising part that happened at the end that I was like, wait, what? And again, it came back to a fantasy, and it wasn't really fully explained, but I didn't mind at all. And it made me realize that, oh, okay, she could only ever be a movie star, and how that twist happened. You don't know what I'm talking about if you haven't read the book. And I think overall this was a great choice for this prompt for Asian Readathon. This was a cover worthy of googly eyes, but also the content. Obviously it's a wonderful story, but at the same time it's very glamorous, and the women are very glamorous. The outfits are explained and detailed. But honestly, the relationships that Lily had with all these other women, and even with Harry, were so rich and so sweet and again, wholesome. I know that word is thrown around a lot, but I really got that from this. And my God, there were some spicy scenes in there. If I had to choose my favorite character, I think I would choose Greta. I really loved her. And if I had to choose a scene that really stuck out to me the most, that I keep thinking about, I think it's with Greta on the night of Halloween, where she has to hold on to that man. If you know, you know. What a treasure this is. And I feel like although there were a couple things that were like, mostly those few drama scenes at the quarter way, but I don't care. I'm giving this 5 stars. I loved it. I was under its spell, and I definitely want to reread this like soon. I feel like I've heard a couple people compare this to The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, is that it? By Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've never read that book, mostly because I'm scared of famous people. Now I'm actually more interested in reading that book. Anyway, I think I've babbled long enough. Nghi Vo, I Worship at Your Feet. I've loved 2 of your books so far now, and I'm so glad that I read this. I feel like in the morning I'm gonna remember 100 different conversations and topics that I wanted to bring up about this book, but oh well. This is the end of the video. Bye.